Hi, myself Sahil Raj, and I am student of IIT Madras in the branch of Electronic Systems. This is my ID card. Now I am going to demonstrate experiment of electronics lab. So let's begin. In this experiment, I am going to measure VTC of 92 gate available in IC7400 and also check the continuity of circuit. Here is the list of components which we required for this experiment. We need one IC7400, one trim pot of 1 kilo ohm resistor, one breadboard, voltmeter and Adam 1000K. Here is the circuit diagram of IC7400. IC7400 is a quad 2 input NAND gate. Out of 4 NAND gate, we use the first one. Pin 1 and pin 2 is the input of NAND gate. Pin 3 is output of NAND gate. Pin 7 is a ground of IC. Pin 14 is a VCC of IC7400. Here is a circuit diagram which we will apply on breadboard. In this circuit, we clearly see that pin 1 and pin 2 is the input of IC7400 and pin 3 is the output. Pin 1 is connected to 5 volt input voltage. Pin 2 is connected to trim pot, which is a variable resistor, and pin 3 is connected to voltmeter to measure output voltage. This is my breadboard, on which I did the same connection which I described previously. This is my IC7400, which is connected to a trim pot. Trim pots provide variable resistance. We can increase and decrease resistance by rotating its screw. We can increase resistance by rotating screw to anti-clockwise and decrease resistance by rotating screw to a clockwise. And in this experiment, we are using Adam as a power source. Adam is providing 5 volt input voltage to our circuit. We connected first pin of a IC and a 14 pin of a IC to input voltage and the first pin of a trim port to input voltage. We connected 7 pin of a IC to a ground and a third pin of a trim port to a ground. We connected second pin of a trim port to a second pin of a IC. So we first check continuity of our circuit. To check continuity, we use multimeter. We put black probe of a multimeter to a ground and a red probe to check continuity. We first put red probe to a 14th pin of a IC. We can hear our multimeter beeps. It means our connection between a ground to a 14 pin is okay. We do the same with other wires also. We put red probe into a third pin of a trim port to check continuous. Yeah, it's beep. It means it's continuous. We do same thing with input voltage. We put red probe into a input voltage and black to check continuity. We first put into a first pin of a IC, then 14 pin of IC, and then first pin of a trim pot. Now we measure VTC of a NAND 2 gate available in IC7400. To check VTC, we use multimeter. We put black probe of a multimeter into a ground and a red probe into a first pin of a IC to check input voltage. Current, our input voltage is 2.0. We can increase or decrease input voltage by rotating screw of a trim pot. We can increase by rotating screw to anti-clockwise and we can decrease by rotating screw to a clockwise. Our input voltage is 2.02 volt. We can check their respective output voltage by putting red probe into a third pin of a IC. Our output voltage is 4.88. Now we repeat the same thing but by changing input voltage. Now our input voltage is 2.22. We can check the respective output voltage. Now we repeat the same thing until we reach input voltage to a 5 volt. Our range is from 0 volt to a 5 volt. We can plot their respective output data and we can create graph and we can see their reaction. From graph we can see that when I take input voltage 0, my output voltage is 4.88 volt, and from input voltage 0 to input voltage 2, my output is still continuous to 4.88, and when I take an input voltage 2.2 volt, my output start dropping, and when I reach 2.8 volt input voltage, my output becomes 0, and from 2.8 to 4.8 my output is still continuous to 0 volt.